Okay, so yeah, it's been a minute.
It's certainly been a while since the last episode.
It's been a second. And, like, obviously I didn't say this before the pre-show, but since we probably don't have a lot to talk about with FF5, it's like, I think this might be the time to say, what do we do from here? Because I have some ideas for, like, RPG chat, since FF probably ain't gonna be the marathon anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm starting to lose steam even after like a whole year of not playing it. I'm still down to play them, but I don't know if I really want to talk about them unless they really do something different. Because
I have...
this game, it hasn't been that different from the rest of them story-wise, but gameplay-wise, it was probably the best one yet.
I think it's the best one, but honestly, I don't even think it's story-wise. I'll save it for best thing, worst thing, but
Okay.
in general, it's kind of astonishing to me, going back to the early FFs, how similar all 5 of these games have been.
Yeah, they've all been just the same thing. Just look at the crystals, go find crystal, look at crystal, and then continue from there.
Here's 4 crystals. Here's MacGuffin hunt at the very end.
Yeah.
As a grind sesh.
I mean,
It's like-
this one's certainly the best written. Like,
It's easily the best one.
I don't know
Fucking
about
easily.
the Super NES translation, but the Game Boy Advance translation was great. Characters had a lot of personality. It was amazing.
The SNES translation is still pretty good. Like, there's little differences. Like, pirate talk is not really a part of it. Like, Ferris just talks to a person.
pirate.
It's just like every day is International Pirate Day for Ferris.
Yeah.
But in the SNES one, it's like, nah, she just talks like a normal person.
Butts doesn't yell creeping crawdads before you fight the flying ship boss.
Actually,
Does he?
He might actually. Fuck, I'm gonna have to go back.
Does Sid say Jiminy Christmas anytime?
Yes.
Okay, he does. Okay, perfect. Yeah. That's great.
Yeah, like, it's still pretty
The
good.
characters have a lot of personality. The most personality yet.
Yeah, it's like the first time where it's like they were actually really fun.
The villains are kind of
Outside
goofy,
of-
but still threatening. It's great.
Oh, dude, okay, we'll talk about X-Death. He's fucking great.
Yeah.
Actually. Like, he's the first time I've actually really liked a villain in one of these games, outside of thinking Cloud of Darkness, like, on... God, yes. Alright, so I suppose I should do the formal introduction. Final Fantasy V is what we're going to be looking at today. Rick played the Game Boy Advance port. I played the Super NES fan translation. So the game was developed by Square, released in 1992, and it was a Japanese exclusive game. We'll get to why. I kind of have my own take on it. I don't know if I believe the official reason. It's directed by Sakaguchi again. Basically, the development is the same as every other game. But what was interesting is that it was in production for an official English release back at launch, just because of the success of it. Like FF5 sold like, it sold like 2 million copies in Japan alone, which doesn't sound impressive today, but
Back then, yeah.
for like for a Famicom game in the 90s, like early 90s, like fuck. Like, that's Dragon Quest numbers.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's like at that point, because it was such a massive hit, they were just full steam ahead on a Western Final Fantasy 3, it was going to be called. And good old Ted Woolsey was going to be working on it.
Of course, good old Ted Woolsey.
Dude, he's fucking great. I will defend him.
Yeah, I think his translations are great.
Like, him not being on FF7 is one of the single biggest issues that game has. He could have fixed a lot of problems it had. But actually, we'll talk about FF7 a little bit later today. Because I will rope it in, because I'm a fucking FF7 fanboy. Right on my knees, right in there.
Alright.
Alright, so allegedly the game was not going to be released here because Final Fantasy V was deemed too hard. I don't know if I buy that.
I don't know. I mean, there are some hard stat check bosses, but maybe it was just the variety of options that the player was given.
it could be the variety because Final Fantasy 3 was also not released here, and that this is basically Final Fantasy 3 but good.
Mm-hmm.
So
And also, if you remember Final Fantasy 4, in that game, when Cecil was a Dark Knight, he didn't have his darkness ability in the English version.
yeah, they removed that for the SNES one in here, which okay, so weirdly enough, like maybe Kid Me was just a big unga bunga idiot, but that actually makes the game way harder to not have darkness.
Yeah, because you have nothing.
Did
You have nothing to deal with like groups of enemies.
Yeah, you have no fucking crowd control. Even if you lose HP, it's like, come on, I need something here. It's like
Yeah,
the
exactly.
early game's way harder than the American.
And so maybe that's what he was thinking when he said it was too hard. Maybe there's just too many options for a gamer, an American gamer in the 90s.
Yeah, I mean, there. You know what? Maybe that's it. Like straight up, there was that hint of xenophobia in the Japanese industry at the time. Stupid gaijin.
Yeah, dumb American can't figure out how to win. So story-wise, it's just the same as any other Final Fantasy. The crystals are in trouble, and you got to do something about that, and that's pretty much it.
That's it. All right, we'll get more to the story and like the general quality, but let's do the formal thing.
All right.
Best thing, worst thing. So, what's your best thing?
I really, really like how creative the game allows you to be. I like that chemists are allowed to do basically anything. You can power up your allies, you can power down the enemies, you can even level up or de-level them to make them vulnerable to spells that only affect certain leveled monsters. I really liked the Blue Mage. I loved how I'd get into combat with a monster and it would use an ability on me, and I'd think, wow, that move's kind of cool. Can I learn this? And then, of course, I'd inevitably be disappointed when I didn't learn it. But still, like, the fact that I'd ask that question and be excited for the end of the fight to see, like, oh, did I learn a new spell? That was really cool. I liked that a lot.
Yeah, still, it's like even if you don't do it often, it's like 1 in 10 you're gonna get a new move.
Yeah, it's fun. It's great. I love being excited for that. Mix and matching jobs, great. Love that shit.
Okay, that is the number one best gameplay aspect. Because like my best thing in general is just the job system, and I think it is a crying fucking shame they did not reuse this in any game in the series because
They don't? None,
no,
none of
it's
them at
over.
all?
None of them. This is it.
I'm done playing Final Fantasy.
Yeah, it's like okay, so we'll talk more about the future of RPG chat, but we're getting to the territory of the games that I have familiarity with and or have straight up just played.
Okay.
So, and I can tell you, the closest we're gonna get to a game that plays as well as this, fucking unironically, is 10-2.
Oh my god, no, please.
10-2 is like the
No.
closest we're ever gonna get to an FF that has this much customization and variety without being like just this amorphous blob like the characters in 12 are.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, this is the good time to jump off because we're about to get to the real fucking weird years.
Okay, well, I might still play the games, but I don't know if we're gonna bring them back on for RPG chat.
We'll talk about it. There's two I think would be interesting to do.
Okay.
There's one that I would.
I think I know which that one is.
I
I
I'm
might be
kind
able
of
to
chomping
guess
at the
about
bit.
it.
But in general, it's like I just love the absolute insane variety of the job
Yeah.
system.
You're just allowed to do whatever you want, and the game doesn't really punish you for it. In fact, it encourages it, which is great.
And another thing too, it's like job progression actually works in a way that is not asinine.
Yeah.
Because I loved the idea of the job system in 3.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is leveling up a job was the single most tedious thing on the planet.
Yeah.
And is the worst grind I have ever seen in a video game.
Yes, it is. It really
it is the
is.
single worst one.
It's the worst. Like, you take 8 actions in battle, and that lets you level up once, and you can only level up once per battle? Like, whose idea was this? This is terrible.
Yeah, and you have to get 99 rather than 7.
Yeah. I mean, hell, the jobs in 5 don't even have, like, a set level. Some of them...
Yeah, like some of them master at 3, some of them at 7,
Yeah.
some of them at 5.
And, I mean, their AP points are set to they're scaled to how important their job is, right? So like black mages go to like level 7, I think. It's either
Yeah.
it's 7 or 6. I think it's 7, yeah. And that's because black mages are pretty important. But like support jobs, like what the berserker only goes to level 2. That's more.
Well,
of a-
yeah, because like Berserker is just there for just raw damage.
Yeah. So it's great.
Yeah, another thing too is like there's really interesting ones like I maxed out Dancer. Well, one for the meme because
Of
we can
course.
dance if we want to. We can leave our friends behind. But outside of that, like mastering Dancer has a really good equipment reason where you can now equip ribbons on any character that
class.
mastered Dancer.
Yep.
So right away, that is a fucking game changer for things like Neo X Death.
Yeah. Yeah. With the Grand Cross ability
Yeah, like Grand Cross goes from the single scariest ability in the game.
to being nothing.
Yeah.
Literally does nothing.
Which, granted, also doesn't want to say future knowledge, but I noticed Grand Cross, and that made me raise an eyebrow. Because, alright, so FF is not the most unique or original series when it comes to reusing every single concept it has. But what I find interesting is Grand Cross only shows up again once.
Once?
Yeah, there's one more game in the series that has Grand Cross in it, and my stupid story lore hunter, like, comment, and subscribe to the lore man. Thanks for watching. Like, my brain, that's wrong. I'm actually like, oh, wait a minute, is this game a sequel to FF5?
Which
Because now I'm starting to think about it. I was like, maybe we should play that one. Because that game, well, one, is actually pretty good, but
which one's that?
Final Fantasy 9.
Oh, okay. I was thinking it was 14. I mean, I'm
No.
sure Grand Cross shows up in 14, right? 14's got everything.
Full disclosure, I have never played one of the MMOs.
Yeah, neither have I.
Honestly, I'm more interested in the MMOs than the rest of the series at this point, just because it would be fucking hilarious to have a full party.
I think it would
of
be
the game
really
cucks.
funny. Yeah.
It's like that's the only reason.
It would be great.
But yeah, like even then, like one thing that is absolutely fucking genius is like we were kind of talking about a second ago, is the ability to take job abilities and mix and match them.
Yeah.
Like by the end game, what I was doing is like just one example. I made Ferris a samurai, and samurais outside of the guild toss, what they have is they have a really high chance of dealing crits.
Yeah.
And what I gave her was I also like leveled up Knight until Knight had double grip. So I gave her double grip on Samurai.
Okay.
What happened is like almost every other swing she'd be doing a crit on top of double damage.
Yeah, because
It's just
you just
wipe
do that.
everything.
They just let you do
You
it.
can just do it. It's like, and when you realize like how many jobs are there, it's like I think it's
There's a lot.
Hold on. I'm actually gonna look this up live. Alright, so not including freelancer, because that's kind of cheating.
Yeah.
But 21.
21.
There's 21 jobs in the game, and keep in mind, you get job abilities for every single level up. For every job. And if there's a minimum of 2 for every single one, that means there's at least two job abilities that you can mix and match between every other job.
Yep.
That is fucking ludicrous.
Yeah.
The options you have.
It's crazy. And the fact that they never expand on this is insane to me. Well,
It is criminal that they never reuse this system.
I guess I should say they don't reuse it in Final Fantasy, but there are definitely other Square games where they do bring
I've
this
heard
back.
Bravely Default does it.
Yes.
I don't know.
It does, and it does it way better actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because instead of like you have one job and you have like another aspect of a job, you have a job and you have a sub job, and you have like all of the innate abilities of your first job, but your sub job you can do all of the equipable abilities, like so Samurai has like a bunch of sword counter moves, in their arsenal. If you have that as your sub job, you get all of the activate abilities that you could use in battle, but you don't get the passives. So it's just like you have 2 jobs, essentially.
That's actually fucking interesting.
It's really
okay.
cool.
Now, I have very little knowledge of Bravely Default, but that sounds really cool. Actually,
It is. It's actually. Really cool.
I now give a shit about that game. Maybe add that one to the list.
Unfortunately, don't add it to the list. The story sucks.
Oh, no.
The gameplay's amazing, but like, the story's pretty bad.
Oh no. Oh,
you can't have.
Why can't we
both.
have good things? Yes, we can. I'm gonna be playing it in the new year once the upcoming video's done.
Ooh.
And this.
Okay.
It's Digital Devil's Saga 1 and 2 if anyone's.
Fuck yeah. Good games.
Oh, that's happening, dude. Well, it's because like you said you wanted to see it on Discord streams, so it's like, yeah, fuck it, I'll just like save it until like everything else is done. Then
Hell yeah, that game's great.
I've only played a little bit of it, but I'm really enjoying Press Turn so far.
Yeah, and Press Turn is just way better than ATB, which was
okay. That's actually on one of the worst things.
that was my worst thing. To segue back into best thing, worst thing, that was my worst thing. Like, really hated Twintania charging up for Giga Flare and then activating Giga Flare before I could even use any of my turns. That was really cool. Really liked being obliterated before I could do anything.
Okay, well, having seen the future of where the games go, I'm gonna make a definitive statement. 1 minute. Let's see. My water glass here. Just. Fuck ATV.
Yeah. I don't understand why people like it. I don't get it. Obviously, I must be crazy, but I would rather just have turn-based.
I think what sucks about it more than anything, at least for me, is you can manage around it. It's never... Okay, so Twintania is kind of like a special example of... Okay, now the system just fails just because of this one boss. He's a very particular example.
Mm-hmm.
But in general, it's not bad. It's fine. But the thing is, there's absolutely zero reason to have this over turn-based. It provides nothing.
It's just... I don't understand why people like push for it or say like it's great. I just don't like it. I just don't like it at all. I'd rather have
it adds nothing.
I'd have my characters in a set order. You know, he's always going to attack after this guy, and then, you know, either having all of the characters in battle attack in the same order, so it's my turn, enemy turn, other guy's turn, or, you know, just all of my guys attack at one time and then all of the enemies attack at one time. Have it that way. Either way, it's fine. Just ATB sucks. I don't like it.
Okay, maybe this is just like rose-tinted glasses from a game I played when I was literally a teenager, but you know what actually might have the best combat system? Not customization, not like anything else, just pure combat system in any of these fucking games?
Which is
it might actually be FF10.
10?
It might be 10. Like, the more I'm looking back on 10.
Yeah, I've seen that. It's got like the boxes in the corner that tell you like whose turn is it in battle.
And you can manipulate the turn order that way.
Yeah. Yeah, that looks cool.
That's fucking great. And it's like, and then there's shit with a sphere grid that is really interesting if you really want to get into the most insane level up system in a video game. Well, at least in one of these. Like, the sphere grid is fucking wacky if you really get into it.
Well, that sounds interesting. Maybe we'll get to that one.
Maybe we'll do the ones that are kind of cool.
Yeah. What was your worst thing?
Oh, God. Okay, so I have 2 contenders for worst thing.
Alrighty.
One of them specific to FF5, though.
Okay.
So we'll start with that. The late game is completely padded and unnecessary.
Yes. I was going to make a mention of that, too, yeah.
The last, well, I'd say, like... It depends how fast you do it, but I'd say, like, 15 to 20% of the game with the stone tablets and the 12 legendary weapons, it just shits the bed completely.
Yeah. Like as soon as that turtle Guido started mentioning like, oh, you gotta get the 4 stone tablets to unlock the 12 legendary weapons, I was checking out. I was like, I don't care about any of this. I just want to go straight to the end zone and fight X-Death. I don't care about this.
And the worst part is, like, that was immediately after the big moment of X-Death revealing his end game of, this is what we're gonna do.
And that's, like, after he just started destroying shit with the Void. Like, I think we've got more important things to worry about, Turtle. Like, come on.
It's like you set up the most important fucking quest possible. Like, the threat is immediate. This isn't like, oh, in 1 week's time, X-Death is gonna destroy the world.
No, he's doing it right now. Yeah. Like, we don't have time to go look for these weapons, man.
And it's like, it is theoretically possible to just go in at that point.
Yeah, I know.
Without doing anything else. Yeah, it's theoretically possible.
It sucked.
But good fucking luck getting past basic enemies that are just inflated to, like, fucking boss health stats.
Yeah. Landcrawler had more HP than any boss that I'd fought up to that point. And a lot of the bosses that I fought after that point, too.
I did all the 12 weapons. I did all the tablets. I didn't know they were optional. It is somewhat better to know you don't have to do it for a min-max, like, super playthrough when you know what everything is. Mm-hmm. But I don't know about you. I was trying to do this completely as blind as possible.
Okay.
So it's like, I didn't know fucking anything outside of the Zerker playthrough that we watched going on.
Yeah.
Like, comment, and subscribe. Recommend playing.
Yeah, recommended playing all Berserkers Final Fantasy V playthrough. Great watch.
That was, like, unironically the only bit of FF5 I knew about.
Yeah, me too.
Up to that point. So it's like, I was going in as blind as I possibly could for legitimate strategies and how, like, all 20 jobs not Berserker works.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, I got to the end game and realized, oh, I still have to grind, because, like, I was barely level 40, and by the time I got to Twintania, I was getting my shit pushed in.
Yeah, and that leads me to the other thing that I didn't like. This wasn't enough to hit my worst thing ever, but I didn't like the stat check bosses that are just there to check your damage output. You know, we're just here to see if you can do enough damage.
It's literally just a DPS race at some points.
It's like, we're just here to check how much damage you can do and how much you can withstand. And I think that's really lame.
Those suck.
Especially right at the end.
We'll talk about it later. Like, obviously, when you're done. And assuming I get the time and I do a second run. Well, third run, technically. But I think there is one interesting example of a game we're going to talk about soon called Amori that has a DPS race boss that I think is actually really fucking good.
Yeah.
And really clever design. It's fucking Sweetheart.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah, exactly.
That is the best DPS race I have ever seen in a video game.
Yeah, it's great. It's such a great boss fight and moment in the story, and it's just fun. It's good. It was just good.
And you know what's not a good DPS race? Leviathan, which granted, fortunately you skipped.
I walked right past that.
Oh my god, fucking
Twintania was
it's like
DPS
a mini
check.
Twintania.
Yeah, that was my DPS check. I totally lost a dozen times before I managed to kill it with level 5 death when it was charging its Giga Flare.
Yeah, isn't that fun? It's not fun how, like, technically an exploit is, like, the #1 way to do it. Because, like, you don't know the levels.
Well,
so you don't know that he's going to change levels.
There is a hint in the library that says, in the Void, that says that when magicians are casting Giga Flare, they are extremely vulnerable. So there's a tip there for you. And, I don't know, I thought that was kind of cool. I actually thought it was kind of cool.
Okay, well, fucking, just to hell with what I said then.
Yeah, it is.
That's
cool.
actually kind of cool.
They reward your creativity. It's great.
All right, it's a real shame that he's just a fucking DPS check. Outside of that,
and also if he's able to, beat you, if he gets his turn before your ATB gauges fill, which happened to me 5 times, you just die. You take 5,000 damage and you just die. It's great.
I don't know, like the entire Cleft of Dimensions had that same problem, I felt.
Okay. Is that what they called the void, the cleft of dimensions in your version?
Yeah, it's the Cleft of Dimensions is the name of the final area in the
Okay.
SNES translation.
Yeah, in mine I think it was just called the end zone.
That's way lamer, actually. Why did they?
I don't know. I think end zone sounds pretty cool.
I'm not running to the end zone like I'm fucking Jerry Rice.
Oh, it's N, like the letter end zone.
Oh,
I assume
thought
it's
we were
supposed to be
talking
like
football.
negative zone.
Okay, end zone's pretty cool then. Fair enough. I was talking like
Yeah, I always called it
I'm a
the
running
end
back?
zone too, because I thought that was funny. We're going to the end zone. We're gonna get a home run.
fucking touch that shit down,
A
baby.
home run, baby.
I'm gonna get a home run and a strike in this football game.
Yeah.
But even then, like even for some of the tankier DPS bosses, like Neo X Death in particular, I think he's a big boy. But even that, like we already went over earlier, there's interesting ways around him.
With the ribbons, it nullifies his strongest attack.
Yeah, like you take out the biggest oh shit move in the game. And it's like even if you only have one ribbon on someone, if you give it to the right party member,
That could
you
mean
can just
anything,
negate
yeah.
anything. And on top of that too, it's just like, oh, at that point, if you just have enough money, you can also just throw it at him.
Yeah, with the
It'll
guild
die.
toss. It's great.
Isn't that great?
Chemists can make him vulnerable to certain magic. They can de-level him. You can use blue magic on him. It's great.
Can you use level 5 death on any parts of Neo X Death?
I'm sure you can. If you use...
You probably can.
Yeah, the game will let you do it.
It's like, it's honestly getting to the point where it's like, I kind of want to try doing Chemist and Blue Mage, like, as the primary damage dealers for a run. That sounds kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about it. Like, I'd be down to do a 4-job Fiesta next year.
That's the weirdest thing. Like, this is the only FF so far that, outside of curiosity of replaying the NES version,
Like,
out of, like, just historical curiosity.
Yeah,
Like,
this
this is the only one I actively want to play again.
this is the first time where I've like, yeah, I kind of want to play this game again, but with like completely different jobs.
It kind of sucks for the one reason of it just shits the bed at the end
Yeah.
really hard.
Like the game is great up until the final area, the final dungeon. Like,
You're like,
I'm having so much fun, and then the end happens, and I'm like, this game kind of sucks.
I guess I would say it's like overall, I hate using numbers, but this is either a really good 8 out of 10 or the single greatest 7 out of 10 that ever existed.
Yeah, I was thinking like a 6, maybe.
I think 6 is a little too bad. It's like, it shits the bed at the very, very, very end.
Yeah.
But this is like the best 7 I've ever played. It's a strong, aggressive 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I mean, it's just great. Like the amount of the creativity that the game lets you have while playing it. Like it just rewards everything that you do. It's great.
And I would say another thing too is like, it's that reward factor that really puts this one above and beyond. Where, like, look at the like FF3 as the closest counterexample, because FF3 was just a baser version of this.
Yeah.
I felt the game just railroaded you into certain jobs.
Yep.
Like, for instance, with the first crystal, if you just didn't have all red mages
You were
for
playing-
the boss where you had to shrink down,
You were playing the
Get
game
fucked.
wrong. Yeah. If you didn't have all red
Yeah.
mages, you're not playing the game right.
yeah, it's like, you're fucked. And it's like, oh wait, now you got the second crystal? Yeah, red mage is useless now. Enjoy leveling up, new job, idiot.
Yeah, enjoy using Geomancer for the rest of the game because it's the best job.
Easily. And it's like, Geomancer's still good in this game, but it's not game breaking.
Yeah, no.
And there's more interesting shit outside of just win the battle, I guess.
The game breaking job is Chemist, but you have to like put the work in. You have to buy all the materials that you need. So it's actually kind of balanced in that sense.
Yeah, it's only game breaking if you know what you're doing.
Yeah, that
and
too.
That's really interesting. Like, it's reward.
It's reward for either learning it yourself or seeking out that information.
Yeah, it's like, I suppose like that's, if I had to say and comment on the game's difficulty, that would be my number one comment. Is the game is it's tougher than you would expect. Like, it's not I don't know, like fucking like Chrono Trigger, relatively easy, smooth sailing kind
Yeah.
of RPG. Which, first of all, nothing wrong with that.
No.
But the game is like somewhat difficult. It is challenging, but you can break this fucking thing in two if you know what you're doing, and that's not a problem. That's a reward.
Yeah. And like it's not even that you could break it. You can win with any combination of jobs. Any combination. It's even if you had all white mages, you could still win. It wouldn't be easy, but you don't have to change to anything else.
Yeah. It's like, if you just want to use base jobs from the first crystal, you can fucking do it. Nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
There's ways.
I guess the only way it wouldn't be fun is if you just played freelancers the whole way through.
Well, yeah, at that point, you're actually just unga-bungaing your way
Yeah,
to victory.
you're
just auto-attacking and hoping for the best.
Yeah.
And then you got, like, that fucking maniac that's like, yeah, I'm just going to do all white mages.
No, that one guy who was, I'm gonna beat it solo white mage. Just one white mage.
Okay. There's a difference between a maniac and an actual fucking psychopath.
He wins too. He beats Xdeath on his first try.
You know what? With the audacity of even trying, I'll fucking believe it.
It's a great story. Here, I'll link it to you, and you should link it in this video.
I'll put in the pinned comment at the top of this fucking psychopath that actually does this.
He wins first try, and he fights Omniscient as well, and he runs him out of MP.
This actual lunatic. I can't believe it.
Here.
Alright, pinned comment below. This shit's going in, because that's fucking insane.
He's crazy.
So, yeah. We've got a little bit away from best thing, worst thing, but it's like, the other thing for worst thing just kind of shit on the good vibes, unfortunately. This isn't a worse thing for 5 in particular. In fact, I'd say out of any of the games we've played so far, if you're going to play any of the FFs, just play 5.
Yeah.
Straight up. Just ignore all the other 4.
I will agree with that statement. I think you're not missing anything of value by just skipping to 5.
I don't know. It's just like, I think if we started with 5, I think Final Fantasy Marathon would keep going.
Probably.
Like, straight up. Because, like, this would have been a fantastic introduction.
I would have been like, man, Final Fantasy, what was I missing out on? This is great.
Oh, these are good games, actually. That's crazy.
I'd better go back and play the other ones I missed.
Oh,
No.
But it's like, okay, so the worst thing with FF5, it's a unique worst thing, at least for me, is that the irony here, you know, it's just not unique. Because FF5 does not have an original fucking bone in its body. It is the greatest hits collection of Final Fantasy.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
I think that's my biggest issue with it, where I think the reason why fatigue is setting in with FF for the marathon so far is that every single game in the series has been the same fucking thing when you really boil it down.
Yep. They've all been the same.
Like, even, like, when you go from, like, 1 to 2 to 3, which is, like, the most dramatic jumps in styles.
The story is still
like,
exactly
3,
the same.
Yeah, it's like, they're, at the end of the day, the structure's the same. The stories are basically the same. There's very little differences. Like, okay, FF1 has a very rudimentary job system, but it still kind of is a job system.
Yeah, and then 2's got the, you level up your stats. So it's not really like a job system, but you are building your characters specifically for certain things.
Yeah, it's like, it's a shitty job system with limited options, but it's still kind of a job system. 3 is the job system where it's like, on paper it's right, but they still kind of fucked it up.
Yep.
And then you get to 4, where it's like, you have set characters.
You have characters, and they have pre-baked jobs into them, and they're just there.
Yeah, this character is the knight, this character is the white mage, this character is the summoner, etc.
This one's the thief, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like already it's set in. It's just you don't have any ability to choose what the characters do.
Mm-hmm.
So there's really not that much difference gameplay-wise when you get down to it. It's only very fine details, with the only exception, I guess, being FF2, which, looking back, I think I was way too nice to it. I think the more I think about
nice.
FF2, I think we were too nice to it. Because, like,
Yeah, I think we were still fresh in Final Fantasy. We're like, it surely can't be like bad. It can't be this bad, right?
oh my god, I remember, like, I was legitimately excited to play 3.
Yeah.
Because I
too.
heard, oh, it's got the job system. Oh, it's got these cute little characters in 3D. Wowee.
I was looking forward to 3 too.
I was really happy. Oh, those are the days.
How things change.
It's like, I think, okay, so 3, if anything, was the breaking point, but I think 2, if anything, we were way too nice to that game. Just
Okay.
because 2, the only reason I have anything good to say about 2 is because I cheesed the entire game. If I had to do that game legit, I would fucking despise it.
And it's funny you say that because I cheesed the end of Final Fantasy V and I was really not liking it. So I think, yeah, if I actually played 5 legit, I'd probably like it. I'd probably enjoy the ending a little bit more. I mean, other than the fact that I'd have to grind.
Yeah, the grind is... So far, every FF has had this problem where it's like, you gotta grind the shit out of your fucking team.
Yeah. And in 2, it was just grind your instant death spells, bro. Like,
Yeah.
grind teleport, grind warp.
And it's like, well, for me, it's like, the problem is like, if you didn't know that, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. And then you run into the boss that's immune to teleport, and you're just like, wow, I guess I'm just dead.
Oh. Yeah, it's like 2 bosses, like the fucking Fire Hand and fucking the final boss. It's like, okay, the final boss, sure, that's fine. I can accept that.
Yeah, Yellow Soul, and I think
Fuck off.
there was the King Behemoth in Dawn of Souls was also immune to it, and the final boss.
Oh,
of course.
fuck, there's 3, you're right.
But Dawn of Souls is, it is canon, but I don't know if you played that one.
I didn't
Yeah,
fucking
you
play
passed
it.
on
I
that.
saw you play it.
You
I
saw-
have no desire to...
You saw the beginning of that, and you're like, yeah, I'm not touching this shit.
I'm out.
I'm not
like,
touching this
oh.
one.
End game content and difficulty when you have 0 options and 2 party members, yeah, I'm fucking gone.
Yeah, it was not very fun.
But it's like, at this point, I think, if anything, that's my... Yeah, it's like, the same structure is like, okay, 4 crystals, path to airship, same classes and job structure, roughly.
Mm-hmm.
It's the best version of FF, bar fucking none.
And
they have min-maxed and fine-tuned this thing to a mere sheen.
And there are some new ones, like the Blue Mage and Chemist, but...
Yeah, it's like, those happen to be the most interesting things here, too.
Yeah, exactly.
It sucks, because, like... If this was the first one, if I was not on franchise fatigue, I think I'd be more positive towards Final Fantasy V.
Yeah, I think so too. I think after playing so many Final Fantasies and seeing, like, sure, the gameplay's gotten better, but it's still kind of the same. It's really, like, starting to get a little frustrating. Especially since I've played a lot of RPGs that are a lot better than Final Fantasy. That's not, like, fair to Final Fantasy as a series. It's just that it's not as good as I was expecting. Which, I can't really hold
Alright,
that against
so-
the game.
This is gonna be a weird comparison, because, like, I know Dave and I have talked about this, but weird comparison. I don't want to sound like that cringy IGN writer back in the day who made the Metroid Prime comparison to this movie, but I think what we're having is, like, the Citizen Kane effect.
Oh,
where
okay.
Citizen Kane, it's not the greatest movie
No.
of all time. Let's be fucking... Like,
It's-
obviously, it's like, you could argue how do you quantify a greatest movie of all time, but,
Yeah.
like, Citizen Kane is not the single greatest story ever put to screen.
In fact,
Cit-
the thing that was so great about the movie was its cinematography. I mean, the story wasn't
100%.
it wasn't even that special.
The story was fine,
Yeah.
but it's like, what made Citizen Kane was how ahead of its time
Mhm.
it was. Like, name other movies of the time that were shot like Citizen Kane.
Yeah.
That sounded like Citizen Kane.
Exactly.
Like, it was revolutionary for what it did. And that's kind of where I am with FF right now.
Yeah.
Where
I've been
Final Fantasy, especially Final Fantasy like 1, was fucking game changing.
there was nothing like it at the time.
Yeah, it's like FF4 as well. FF4 is like, for the issues the story has, when you took it to like an actual critical examination at it, it was like one of the first major story-driven games of the console market. Like, obviously, like, there was PC games that kind of had some story-driven content, like text adventures and things like that, but
Yeah.
this was like the first, I would say, like, blockbuster fantasy epic style story, which to this day is still like a big deal in the AAA market. So in a lot of ways, like, FF kind of has that Citizen Kane thing going on, where I think the reputation it has is exclusively based on what it did at the time it did it,
Yeah. I believe the same thing.
and you can't take that away from it. Like,
No.
it's important.
Yeah, I mean, it broke new ground.
Unironically,
Unironically,
like, not even
yeah.
trying to meme.
It really did. And it's special for what it did, but I can't say that it compares very well to other things that exist now. Right? I mean, like that's
okay.
the thing, that's the argument. Like, people say games don't age, right? But things do change, right? We get better games to compare it to. So that's the idea there.
I think another thing too is another game that I would make this comparison to, and of course it's like, you know, you probably are sick to death of hearing like fucking Dave West and I talk about it, but I think it's the issue of people like kind of younger, new generation gamers going back to Resident Evil 4. I think that's the issue. Like, they're having the same problem.
They're like
'Cause,
playing FF, or they're playing Resident Evil 4 and saying like it's not that great.
Yeah, it's like, it's fine, but it's
Yeah.
like, the thing is, like, Resident Evil 4 changed gaming forever. And FF is kind of having that, where things that FF did that were revolutionary have become the standard because FF did it.
Yeah.
So when you go back after playing numerous things that were the standard, like, they're taking the standard and doing something more or more interesting with it, or fine-tuning it, it's hard to go back.
Yeah, that's how I'm feeling.
But yeah, outside of that, like, for FF5 in particular, I don't have that much to say, so I suppose...
Yeah, other than it was great, and it rewards player creativity. Characters writing was great. Shits the bed at the end, just like the rest of them. Good game.
Yeah. I will say it doesn't shit the bed as hard as 4 does.
Yeah,
The
it
moon
doesn't,
fucking sucks,
no.
holy shit.
It sucks in 4 because you go to the moon and then you have to leave, and then you go back to the moon.
Yeah.
It's like...
Isn't that
it's
great?
the same thing with the stone tablet quest. It's like we present you with the danger, and now it's like, okay, fuck off and do something else. And it's like, no, I don't want
Yeah.
to do that.
Do you like how the final boss is literally just, can you survive this one attack?
Yeah, just like in...
Isn't that great?
Just like in 4. It's great.
It's like fucking, oh yeah, Big Bang, motherfucker.
Yeah, big
Survive
bang.
that.
Grand Cross. I mean, Grand Cross doesn't do damage, but it does...
I think Grand Cross, at the very least, like, it's not just a DPS check. There's
No,
ways
yeah.
around it.
just gives you a random
So it's like-
status effect.
At least it's more interesting that way.
Mm-hmm.
Although Grand Cross does kind of show up gameplay-wise later, but it's called something different. But
Okay.
it's literally does come back in 9 as Grand Cross. And there's some implications to that I think are very fucking interesting.
Okay.
So that gets to the end point of what's the future. And I think, like, the first game immediately for the future, it's like, that's kind of dialed in. It's fucking
It's
Amori.
Amori. It's gotta be Amori. Amori's great.
That's been a long time coming.
Amori's a fucking good game.
Yeah, it's like, I remember taking notes for that, like, fucking almost 6+ months ago, back when I first played it. It's like, goddamn.
Good fucking game. It's just...
Yeah, so that's next. After that, did you have any ideas? Because I had a system idea.
You recommend one game, I recommend another.
Yeah, like I was kind of thinking it might be fun to do a one for you, one for me kind of setup.
Well, I'm gonna have to request 2 games, DDS and DDS2.
All right, we're doing this. And now here's the question: do you want the chat, or do you want a scripted video?
I don't know. I think a scripted video would actually be better. I'd be more interested in that.
Okay.
Because
like,
I'm pretty sure you already know what I think of the game, is that it's fucking fantastic.
Yeah, it was like I think that was like during like peak lockdown. It's like you played that in
Yeah.
Nocturne, and we were all there for like fucking all of it.
Yeah, it was great.
That was comfy as fuck, actually.
Glad I was able to share my favorite games with everyone. And games that you guys hadn't seen before.
It was fucking comfy as shit, dog. And then YIIK happened, and I was like, oh boy, I need to get in on this.
YIIK was the first one.
That was the first one, and I was just like, okay.
YIIK was incredible. That was an experience.
Okay. Another one, too, that I'm going to request is we have to do YIIK 1.5. We didn't do 2.5 because it was barely anything, but...
The update is supposedly coming soon. Coming soon.
They've said that for a year.
It's coming soon for the last 6 months.
It's been a while. I mean, granted, I did see, like, an entirely new sequence on their fucking Twitter page. And I was like, oh, no. Oh, no, sweetie, you're doing this.
Oh, wait. Did they post, like, something that they're working on?
Yes.
I'm gonna have to see that.
I'm gonna say this. Oh, no, sweetie.
Because I'll be honest, the Golden Alpaca shit got me interested. I want to see what else they're working on.
Alright, so you want to do like a mini YIIK 1.25 right now?
That would be great.
Alright, so this is like YIIK Cast Part 2, technically.
YIIK Cast Part 2.
New gameplay doesn't actually... Okay, so here's my big stance on it. I think it's technically better, but I care about it less.
Yeah. I'm interested, though.
Gameplay-wise, it bores me more. Because, like, as stupid as the minigames of the default version were, they were something unique.
What is it?
Like, it set it apart. Like, now it just feels like fucking Mario and Luigi time attacks.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that's kind of just nothing now. And on top of that, it's like, for all the fixes, they didn't improve the mine dungeon. They, like, barely just made it faster. But it's like, that doesn't fix the core issue.
The problem, yeah.
Yeah, like, slightly making it faster, so it's like, okay, so I'm gonna spend, like, maybe an hour less time in there overall. Fucking great. That doesn't fix the problem. It's like, of all things, how the fuck could you just not get that right? That is the #1 problem of the game.
How could you ignore the mined dungeon? Oh boy, I'm watching the video on their Twitter. Oh no.
Oh, which one? Which one?
Their most recent one.
Oh, I'll post it. If that's something new, I'm like, oh no. Oh no, 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 no.
This was October 4th.
Oh, this might be the one I'm thinking of.
It's something. Is all I'm gonna say.
Is it the dude on the tank?
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's... Oh no, sweetie, what are you doing?
Oh boy, I'm interested.
Devolve into escapism. It's like, oh no, YIIK, are you trying to make this fucking commentary social shit happen again?
Oh boy.
Oh no. Oh no. Alright, so prediction time with the Golden Alpaca. Because that's like the one significant new piece of content.
I think it's not going to ever come up again.
Alright. That's your prediction? That's a good fucking prediction.
I think it's going to show up and it's going to disappear, just like the original Golden Alpaca. It's never going to be relevant again.
Oh my fucking... Watch that be it. God, fuck everything I'm about to say.
Yeah, sorry. I'm too smart for you, Doomed.
God damn it. I'm just sitting over here, just trying to think of my fucking conspiracy corkboard of what this could all mean.
It's nothing. It's literally nothing.
It's nothing. But, assuming it's not nothing, and I'm not having a little bit of trolling done to me,
Yeah, what's your thought? What's your prediction?
Okay. Okay. So they announced that this was happening, I believe, after Final Fantasy VII Remake happened.
Mm-hmm.
Well after, I'll add. Like 6 months after.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Golden Alpaca now has a Buster Sword.
He's got a big old black angel wings, too.
Yep. And a Buster Sword.
And the original YIIK had a nonsense Eris cameo
Yep.
that they never explain.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so my official prediction is, okay, spoiler for 7R, okay? I'm going to put a little timestamp after we're done, but Final Fantasy 7R is not a remake of F7. It's a sequel to the fucking movie.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And so
It's a sequel to Advent Children.
So what does this have to do with the Golden Alpaca?
Okay, so in that sequence, maybe I'm misremembering, the Golden Alpaca goes up and specifically points out Alex and Bella as like, this is wrong.
Well,
This entire sequence here is fucking wrong.
he does point out he points out what's his name, Michael, and I don't remember what he calls him, but he says like, you're too late.
He points something. Yeah, he points out something about Michael, which, if you remember from the base game, becomes like Super Jesus when he takes off his shirt and learns to meditate or something.
He becomes enlightened because he fuses with all his mind dungeon selves or whatever. He becomes Michael Prime.
Alright, so, and another thing I want to point out is his death, like, dying dialogue at the end of, like, the little mini dungeon after you beat him.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember, before you go to Windtown to meet up with Rory, outside of Alex's house, you see the Golden Alpaca.
Oh, yeah.
And he's saying the same death dialogue. My official prediction is they are ripping off Final Fantasy VII Remake, and that YIIK 1.5 is actually canon to the original. Like, YIIK 1, the base game, like 1.3 or whatever, that's canon still.
I don't know.
And this is another go at it. And it's a remake and a sequel. And what's going to happen is after they do 1.5, maybe a 1.75 update, they're going to announce YIIK 2.
YIIK 2. Well, I think the problem is they'd have to make the original playable as well in order for it to be a true sequel. But I guess they could just, pave over it.
Well,
pretend that this
honestly,
was how it was the whole time.
I think that's what they're gonna do, because like they've pulled it from sale completely. And if you've ever uninstalled it, you're never able to back up the original unless you do weird shit like I did.
I guess that's true. Yeah,
before all this was announced.
I think that's yeah,
That's my prediction.
I don't think he's gonna show up, but I do think you're right in that it's a sequel instead of a remake, or instead of a redo.
Well, I don't think Golden Alpaca's ever going to show up because they hired Wesker to do it.
Yeah,
he's
not going to do any more lines. He's fucking out of here.
He's too expensive.
Fucking Wesker showed up.
I can't fucking believe they got Wesker. And it's like, oh, that's him, alright. And it's going to be a YIIK 2. I'm calling it. It's going to happen.
I know YIIK 2 is definitely going to happen at some point.
It was such a moneymaker, and it was such a fucking, like, free marketing meme game. There's no way in hell it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So outside of that, outside the 2 games we've put, well, technically 3, technically 4 actually, that we've put on the table. I think the one for you, one for me. I like that idea.
Yeah, I'm down with
we'll
that.
do like, you know what? Actually, 1 minute. After Amori, because Amori will be like the hard line one. 1 minute. Heads or tails?
Heads.
Okay, I got tails. So, tails 1.
Oh shit.
Alright. Okay. So, I don't have a definitive answer yet, but if after Amori I'm doing the first pick. See, on paper, I would have said it's a game that I've wanted to play for a long time, and I'm told is fucking horrendous, and I'm very excited to be just upset.
What could it be?
I was interested in Xenogears.
Xenogears. Huh.
I've never played it.
Yeah, neither have
I
I.
have
I haven't heard anything about it either.
I mean, Wes and I talk about it every once in a while, and it's like, apparently it fucking sucks. But I also hear people say it's the greatest thing ever made. It's one of those games.
Oh boy. Instantly polarizing.
It's like, it's either a 10 out of 10 or a 0 out of 10. It's one of those.
Best game or the worst game you've ever played. Well, if
That interests me.
if Digital Devil Saga isn't on the table since you're making a scripted video, I was gonna tell you to play Persona 5.
I mean, we could do both, honestly.
Just because I don't like Persona 5 that much, and I know you have it.
I have
I know
God damn
you
it.
own it.
I have. Alright, so DDS can be on the table, honestly.
No, I'd rather see a scripted video.
Okay, so you want to... Okay, so yeah. So I'll solidify mine, but if you want to do P5 as your pick after that, I can, like, yeah, let's do P5. Fuck it.
Yeah, I'll be down with that. Yeah.
Oh, you know it'd be fucking hilarious? We did, like, Persona in reverse.
Well, I've already
5, 4, 3, 2, 2, and 1.
I've already played most of them except for 2, but yeah, that'd be fun.
This might be, like, if you want a rage one where you suggest Persona to be mad, here's one if you want to be mad.
Well, I wouldn't be mad about Persona 5, just disappointed.
Oh, okay. Well, I was suggesting one that's like, this might make you a little tilted.
Oh, boy.
Dark Souls.
Oh, fucking nice.
That would be fucking hilarious.
I don't even hate Dark Souls. I just think it's so overrated. It's the same, dude, it's the same shit with Persona 5. I don't even think it's like a shitty game. I just think it's highly overrated.
It's just like, how did this become the biggest thing in the world?
Yeah, exactly. Like, Dark Souls, it's just so... It's so overrated. But I'll play it. I'll play it all the way through. I'll do it for RPG chat.
Alright, we'll keep that on the table. Xenogears, unironically, is one of them. The only issue is Xenogears is apparently fucking long.
Yeah, I heard it's
That's-
like 90 to 120 hours. Well, actually, I should give you a full disclosure. When I first played Persona 5, my save file ended with 100 hours on it.
I've heard that. And I'm going to try doing most of the social links. So it'll probably be like 100 or something.
Yeah, so my game is also very long.
It's true, but it's also like, apparently it's not like, difficult. So yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, no. It's
Like, as long as it's not like a brutal fucking 100 hours, yeah, why not?
No, yeah, it's easier than DDS, so if you're having trouble with
Yeah.
that game, you won't have as much trouble with this one.
I haven't had any trouble so far, honestly, so I'll take it.
Well, you go for the side content, you'll have trouble.
Oh,
I
yeah, I
assure
do.
you. I assure
Well,
you will be in trouble.
One of them requires a full second playthrough, so I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't even do that one on stream.
Outside of that, yeah, like, I suppose it would just be looking over a list, because, like, we already have Omori on the table, so it's like the next one's locked in.
Yeah, Amori it's locked in. We are talking about Amori.
So yeah, outside of that, like, I have nothing else on FF5 or anything like that. Like, I guess just Final Fantasy Dedicated is done.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still gonna check the other ones. I'm still gonna play the other Final Fantasy games, but
I'll play them, but it's like,
Don't-
if you don't want to do, like, marathon them for the chat,
No,
it's like,
yeah.
just, like, space them the fuck out.
definitely not gonna play them for the chat.
Okay, actually, hold on. I would actually like to do FF7. That would be one of my requests.
I do know that you want to request that one, so yeah, that's fine. Just give me some
Seven,
time to play 6 first.
Okay, we'll take it easy on FFs
Yeah.
for a little bit. Like, if Persona is as long as you're saying it is, like,
Yeah.
well,
You're gonna be in there for a bit.
it's gonna be interesting because I've played, like, one Persona game before this.
Yeah, and this one, well, it's better gameplay wise, but it's certainly worse writing wise.
Oh, yeah. Oh, boy, I can't wait.
Yeah.
watch me come out and like, this is the greatest thing ever made. Oh my god.
Well, you're not a huge weeb, so I don't think you will.
Oh no. Oh no. It's one of those.
Oh yes, it's one of those.
Oh no. What if I hate it more than you?
I think you probably will. I'll be honest.
Oh, now I'm kind of looking forward to it. I can't wait to be angry. I'm like Peter Parker.
I can't wait to be mad.
No, I'm almost enjoying my anger.
You have to log off, please.
No. Outside of that, yeah.
I'm finished with FF5 if you are. I've got nothing left to say about it.
Yeah, it's just like, I'll like keep a list of our requests, and it's like, we'll kind of like choose between them whenever it's like picking time.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so thanks everyone for listening. It's been a little longer than I thought, but
Yeah.
like 20 minutes of this was off topic.
Yeah, we can cut that and post it in another video.
Nah, fuck it. It's all in.
All in the
All
same?
in, baby. Fuck it.
But we're talking about a completely different game halfway through.
I'm a maniac.
All right, if you say so.
I don't know. I'll put it as like Final Fantasy 5 chat, YIIK 1.5 mini chat, future of RPG chat. Like just like
Yeah, just
fucking
throw out all the titles.
Kingdom
fuck
Hearts,
it.
the title.
Yeah. Hey, that's another one that we could add to RPG chat.
No,
Instantly vetoed.
no, that's we can veto Kingdom Hearts to fucking veto. I'm never doing that.
Damn. I've never played a Kingdom Hearts.
Like I already technically did a fucking Kingdom Hearts when I did 7R because that's a Kingdom Hearts game.
Well, I guess this is the end of the episode, though.
All right, so stay tuned for RPG chat to have more variety.
Yeah,
which
more variety.
FF isn't
and
done.
More better games.
Yeah, FF's not done. Like, worst case scenario, it's like if you casually play 6 and you're like, I actually just want to talk about this. Because, like, I plan on playing at least up to 9 myself because I'm interested in 6 and I at least am in, like, I like the PS1 games. I'm familiar with them.
All right, yeah. I mean, I'd be down. I'd be down if I
Yeah,
if I
just-
like 6. I'd want to talk about it, but if I don't,
Yeah, like,
then-
that would just be your call, like, randomly.
Yeah. All right, I'll let you know.
All right, that's it, everybody. Thanks for tuning in once again for the return. The comeback.
The return of RPG chat. It's been a year.
Don't call it a comeback. Been here for years.
Well,
All right, peace out.
good night, everyone.